For my final Latin project of Latin 2, I decided to research 10 bones of the lower half of the human body and find the Latin terms and how they connected to each other. I chose to do this because when I graduate high school, I want to become an EMT or trauma nurse. This project will help me understand where some of the bone medical terms come from and how they connect. For my first bone, I had the femur, which literally means thigh bone. This bone is the strongest bone in the body. The head of the femur forms a ball and socket joint with the hip. My second bone is the coccyx, which means cuckoo. It refers to the curved shape of a cuckoo's beak when viewed from the side. It is a small triangular-shaped bone resembling a tail, which is why it's known as the tailbone. It is situated at the bottom of the spine. My third bone is ilium, which means lower abdomen, flank, or groin. It is the uppermost largest part of the hip bone. It comes from the Latin word iliae, which means groin, or side of the body from the hips to the groin. My fourth bone was the tarsus, which means sole of the foot or the tarsal bones. It is the cluster of the 7 bones on the flattest part of the foot before the toe bones. It comes from the Latin word ossa tarsi. My fifth bone is the fibula, which means clasp or brooch. It is known as the calf bone. It comes from the Latin word fibula, meaning clasp. It is called this because it resembles a clasp like a modern-day safety pin. My sixth bone is the tibia, which means shin bone or flute. It is known as the weight-bearing bone and is located on the inside of the lower leg. The word tibia refers to both bone and the musical instrument because flutes were once fashioned from the tibias of animals. My seventh bone is the patella, which means shallow dish. It is a small bone located in front of the knee joint. It protects the knee and connects the muscles in the thigh and tibia. It comes from the Latin word patella, meaning pan or dish. This is most likely because of the shape of the kneecap. My eighth bone is the talus, which means die or dice. It is located between the calcaneus and the tibia and fibula. It comes from the Latin word taxilia because Roman soldiers made their dice from a large bone in the ankle of a horse, but we know this bone is the talus. My ninth bone is the sacrum, which means sacred. It is the name for the large, heavy bone at the base of the spine. It is wedge-shaped vertebra on the interior of the spine, and it forms the solid base of the spine. The Romans called this bone the os sacrum, which means holy bone. My 10th bone is the calcaneus, which means chalk or limestone. It is known as the chalk bone, but we know it as the heel bone. It forms the foundation of the rear part of the foot and comes from the Latin word calx, meaning chalk or limestone, most likely due to the similarity of the substance.